Yes, I am a psychologist. I've worked in the field of addiction for almost 30 years, and it has been a very rewarding career. And as working in the field of addictions, we always were taught that marijuana was a bad thing. It was certainly not something that we would advocate for. So my involvement with Wakana was very surprising to quite a few people. But learning and having to unlearn some of those things that I had known before or thought about before. When Dr. Joy read through the mission and the vision, she talked about ending that negative stigma, and certainly a negative stigma existed. But today we see how far we've come and how much CBD has helped. And so my involvement with Wakana has just been absolutely amazing. But I'll tell you, it didn't really start with my being a substance use professional. It actually started because my mother was diagnosed 4 years ago with dementia, and didn't really know what we were going to do. My sisters and I, my dad, we just didn't know what was going to happen. And when we started to talk with, and I didn't know a lot about memory disorders, really hadn't studied, really hadn't done any research. Only, just what you hear on television, what you hear on the news, what you hear some people who maybe, have experienced it personally, shared some of their stories, but really just didn't know a lot about it. But when it impacted my home with my mother, it made me look a little deeper. So I started talking with her memory doctor, who started giving me like a timeline of when things were going to start happening, meaning some of the symptoms that she was going to start showing. And she had given us a timeline, like, year 5, you're going to see this. Year 10, you're going to see this. Year 15, you may see some of this. You may see some of that. But that 5-year line of things that she said we were going to see, we started seeing immediately. Very irritable, very combative, not being cooperative. And we were like, okay, what's happening? Does this mean that my mother's symptoms are progressing faster than others? So that was very scary for us. And we just didn't know what we were going to do. So because it was impacting my family personally, it made me delve into it a little deeper. And I started seeing articles on CBD and memory disorders. And when I saw that, it said that CBD could be an option. And I reached out to one of the business partners in Wakana because I thought I saw a message on Facebook. And so I inboxed her and I said, do you have access to CBD? And she said, absolutely. Well, that was life-changing for me because I ended up getting the products. But when I was learning about the products, I'm thinking, how am I going to get my mother? Because, and I know that, talking about the different ways in which you can consume the CBD, I'm thinking, how am I going to get my mother to be able to put a tincture under her tongue and hold it for 30 to 60 seconds and then swallow it? She's not going to do that. Again, she had become very anxious, very irritable, very combative, again, not cooperating. So how am I going to do this? Well, the blessing was that Wakana offered a product that was a water soluble that would dissolve in a beverage. So I'm thinking, bingo. So we started putting that in her coffee. My mother is a coffee drinker. She loves Pepsis, all the things that's caffeine, probably not good for her, but nevertheless, she's 74. She wants caffeine, we're giving it to her. But we put it in her coffee, we would put it in her Pepsis, we would put it in juice, and we just saw this drastic change with her. We also gave her the gummies. We found that she became a little bit more cooperative. She wasn't as agitated. She just, I don't want to say her old self, but I really do want to say her old self outside of, we knew she still had an issue with her memory, but the behavioral symptoms were so drastically improved that we just couldn't believe it. And it all happened so quickly that we knew that this was now the answer. So that's when I knew that here's a product, and I was not a business partner with Wakana at that time. I was just a customer. But when I saw such a drastic change in her, and it wasn't a change for the worse, but it was absolutely a change for the better, I'm thinking, okay, I need to look more into this company. And when I did, I'm so thankful and blessed that I did, because I knew at that time, not only was I going to help my mother, but I was going to be able to help other mothers. I was going to be able to help sisters and brothers. I was going to be able to help husbands and wives. I was going to be able to help anybody who was coming into any issue, whether it was something that was mental or if it was something physical. I was going to be a part of that. And in my profession as a psychologist, you know, helping is always what I do anyway. So it was just a no-brainer that I'm going to be able to help people the way that I normally do. I'm going to continue to help my mother, and I'm going to make some additional money. And this ride has been amazing. I mean, I have had the opportunity with these 4 women who have just created a business that has just, you know, if you're on the side of helping, you get that need met. If you're on the side of wanting more money, you get that need met. I mean, they have made sure that they are all around holistically helping us to be able to take part in an industry that I don't believe, honestly, we would ordinarily have had an opportunity to do, because the money that's needed, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that's needed. And even when I looked into the possibility of a dispensary, I'm thinking, I don't have that kind of capital, but yet these 4 women that you saw have created this avenue for us, and we should absolutely take advantage of that, because now, again, not only are we talking about making money, and Dr. Joy talked about that, it's a movement. And so it's just a movement that I'm going to continue to move with, and they are not going to move without me. So I am just stuck here forever, and I am absolutely loving it. So I would implore anyone that's taking a look at this for the first time to just really consider that you are going to be able to be this multifaceted individual that is helping people, but by default, you are going to have a part of those projection numbers that Dr. Joy talked about. We're going to have a part of that. So I'm very excited about that. So Dr. Rita, thank you for allowing me to share that, because again, this journey has just been absolutely amazing.
Awesome.